Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So, I've been getting some commentary that I'm trash and that my reviews are boring and long. Ouch. But you know what? I'm new. I'm figuring it out. I can pick myself apart because I'm not getting it perfect, or I could just try and learn as I go. And to be fair, I have been clocking myself that I do tend to ramble on and on and on. It's funny because it's like, oh my God, what am I going to say? And then before I know it, it's been 10 minutes and I've been going on about nothing at all. So please have patience if you choose to. If you don't, whatever. I'm learning. And here I go, rambling again. So let's just get right into the review. So this is part 3. It starts off where it did last week with Kyle and Kathy. And Kathy, really, if you're going to be mad at Kyle for the show, then you should have at least watched one episode. You know what I mean? If you're going to hold a grudge for that long, right? And I know that it's Kathy losing her mom has been really, really hard on her. I get that, but I feel like she was projecting all that onto Kyle, right? That's not Kyle's issue. Kyle deals with it differently, right? She wants to share the story. She wants to share her life. Well, Kathy kind of seems like she wants to bury it and forget it. And I guess everybody deals with grief in their own way. But just because you are uncomfortable with something, you can't expect other people to handle it the same way you do and then get mad at them when they do things differently. Do you know what I mean? Moving on. I would say, I'll say this, Kim, I would love to see Kim, Kyle, and Kathy all together. But Kim should be a friend of the show. I don't think she needs to be a full-time housewife. I don't think the show is really healthy for her. And she already has given Real Housewives of Beverly Hills lots of material, lots of drama. So I wouldn't mind seeing them have fun and laugh together. Hopefully next season we'll get that. Right? Moving on to Garcelle. If I had 7 siblings, to be honest, I wouldn't be so confident that I could name all of them, right? Even though, yeah, it does kind of look bad because those are your siblings, but 7 is a lot, right? And, I don't know. It would be interesting to see her siblings next season. She has 7 of them. At least one of them has to be available, right? It would be nice to get to see more of Garcelle's life because there's still, when it comes to her personal storylines, there's still a lot of gaps for me. I still don't really feel like I know Garcelle that well. And to be honest, she's not the only one on the show, so let me not pick on her. But she is new. Right? And I think seeing her family would add a little bit more layer to her. So let's move on to Crystal's segment. It's really sad to hear the amount of hate that she's gotten on social media. And I've been noticing this for a while now. I consume too much social media, first of all, and I'm thinking maybe I need to take a step back for my mental health because people can be, and hey, maybe I've been one of those people at times, so I'm not going to exclude myself, but I try to be mindful when I'm commentating and, to not be so mean, because people can be really harsh. Right? And not even harsh on what other people do, but on how they look, really. right? And it's not just one person. You'll have several people just going in, right? Even with children, people will go in on children. Remember Blue Ivy and how they treated her, a baby? Like, people will and even Ashley's baby Dean, people go in and, like, why are you reading a baby? Like, all babies are cute to me. And even if you think the baby's not so cute, keep it to yourself. Just because you don't like the mother or you don't like the father doesn't mean that you need to go after the child. Like, people just take things way too far. There's no boundaries or limitations on the internet. And it's probably, it is the minority, but when online, I mean, it does feel like the majority, and it can mess with your head because you start to think, wow, is this what everybody thinks? Is this how everybody moves? Because it's just so normal. So I really feel bad for her. I can't even imagine being on that level, right? Because Real Housewives is like an international show. So to get hate from like hundreds of people saying racist comments to you, oh my gosh. She had to deactivate her Twitter or Instagram. Like, that's just crazy, and that's just sad. Really sad and effed up. And like I said before, you don't have to like everybody on the show. You can not like somebody and realize their value on the show, and you can just not like somebody and not like them on the show either, but you don't really have to go out of your way to personally attack them. And I know I'm probably going to be a hypocrite in my past videos and maybe in my future videos, but it is always something that I want to be mindful of, that I'm not too harsh, because at the end of the day, this is entertainment, right? They're doing their job. So if I really, really don't like them like that, then I just won't watch. I just won't engage, right? That's just going to be my solution for now, right? Because you can't control everybody else. As a viewer, as an audience, it's your responsibility to control what you watch. Overall, I like Crystal made a strong showing at the beginning, but near the end she kind of sort of blended in. She did feel a little cliquish by the end of it, but I still would like to see her back for another season. You know, I think first season she's maybe not so confident to speak her mind, but by next season I think she'll figure it out. So that was a good addition. One last thing about Crystal, the whole Sutton and Crystal thing, doesn't that seem like ages ago? I still stand by what I said. Everybody is different. For some people, some people, they don't have that, their boundaries are not so high when it comes to their privacy, right? People don't mind being seen naked or whatever, but I guess I'm like Krista. I'm one of those people that it kind of is private, especially if you don't know somebody and you haven't been getting along with them as well. Like, you don't want them to see you naked. And I just think it's a good rule of thumb that if you knock and you don't hear anything, or the person doesn't clearly, keyword clearly, say come in, then don't come in, right? Especially if it's over something stupid like giving someone their jacket. It's not that serious. Just wait, right? So I get where Crystal is coming from. I don't think, obviously, Sutton did it intentionally to hurt Crystal's feelings or to invade her privacy. But that's life, right? Yeah, you do have people out there that will intentionally do things to hurt other people, but a lot of times people don't intentionally go out of the way to hurt people. They don't mean to, but you still do. And if you do have to acknowledge that, you know? It doesn't mean that you're the bad guy or the bad person. I just think that Sutton overreacted. You know, if Sutton just was like, I'm sorry, I did this, I didn't mean to, and I'm sorry, and just let it go, then I think they could have moved on. But Sutton just decided to get really upset by the word violate, right? And you can violate somebody unintentionally. At least I feel like that. Okay, moving on to the Erica Jayne segment. And I know when it comes to Erica, I am very susceptible of rambling on. So I'm going to try to keep this short. Okay. Kyle and Dorit, they pissed me off. I wish they would have just said, look, we didn't believe you. Your story didn't make sense. That's why we were making fun of you. Okay? And now that we have gotten a little bit more of the story, we now get what you're saying, and we apologize. I wish they would have just said that instead of, oh, we didn't mean it. We really did from the bottom of our hearts. We didn't mean to hurt you. It's just the story got all confusing. Dorit, shut up. Like, you guys didn't believe her story. That's just what it is. Just be honest, and you're allowed to change your mind. Maybe you believe her story now. That's okay, but stop lying. Clearly, PK wasn't buying it. He asked you in that moment when you were telling him that Erica's son flipped his car 6 times, which Dorit was wrong. He actually flipped his car 5 times, or rolled his car 5 times, not 6, right? In that moment, he was like, is that true? Is that true? So obviously they were having a hard time believing the story. Just be honest about it. It's so annoying. Same with Kyle. Like, Kyle, in your confessionals, you were doubting her the whole entire time. You weren't believing her. Just be honest. Just be honest. They're so annoying. They're so annoying. Right? But then low-key, I kind of see why. Because Erica's really scary. She kind of is. I'm sorry. She scares me. Right? So that's why it was comical when Erica was like to Sutton, oh, you could have just called me. You could have asked me. All of you guys, you could have just called me and asked me what was going on, and I would tell you what I know. And no, Erica, they couldn't just call you and ask you, because every time they ask you something, you freak out, right? Even like look how she treated Crystal when Crystal was like asking a very valid question, where she was like, if this was my husband and I found out that he did all this shit, I would be so angry at him. But how come you're not as angry? Which is a valid question, right? I'm thinking that as well. And she snaps at Crystal. Whoa, don't you think I'm angry? What am I doing, huh? Don't you hear it in my voice? And it seems like Erica is more angry at the ladies than she is her husband. That's what it feels like. She's more angry at them, or she's projecting that anger onto them, right? So how do you expect them to have an open and honest open and honest conversation with you if you lash out like that? Like, come on, if you had any friend and you hear this stuff, you're gonna be like, okay, what's the tea? Break it down for me. You're not gonna be like, oh, I just 100% believe you, no conversation needed. It doesn't work like that. Erica, I don't know. She didn't make a good decision coming on this season. She really should have just stayed off the show legally. I don't think it was good for her at all. But it was good for my entertainment value, so thank you, Erica. But no, she didn't come off well at all. And I do think that maybe part of the reason why she isn't so mad at Tom is because well, quote unquote, she's not so mad at him, I think it's for legal purposes, right? Because if she gets too pissed off at him, it's almost like admitting that he's guilty, right? Because if he's not guilty, then she has no reason to be mad at him. Does that make sense? You get what I'm trying to say. So she can't go too hard on him, right? Because that may translate to she thinks he's guilty. And if she thinks he's guilty, then she can be guilty by association, right? Because she knew something. That's why she got out of the situation. So it's just one big giant mess. Like I said many times before, I get why Erica maybe isn't speaking too much on the victims, because she can't. Legally, it's not a good idea to do so, because that would be admitting guilt or admitting Tom's guilt. And it's just one giant mess. She should not have been on the show at all, but I'm here for it. Overall, the third part was all right. It was all right. It was better than the second part. It's getting so tongue-tied. But this reunion did not need to be 4 parts. It really didn't. But whatever. We're winding down to the last part, which is next week. Finally. Woo. And then we're gonna get the Sutton versus Erica moment. Finally. Anyways, guys, that's everything. Toodaloo.